baby, you're thinking, okay, eventually the kid's going to go to school. He will realize that perhaps the majority of his classmates won't have that type of family setting like he has at home. How do you go about that? How do you prepare your kid to kind of throw him out there in society where the views on gay couples isn't what he's lived through until he gets out there?
Well, for us, we're pretty lucky because because both of us are working parents. We had to send Damien to daycare, pretty much from the age of, I think, 18 months old and on. So he's been with other kids in a sort of a framed environment for most of his life. And the teachers at the daycare, the same as the teachers at the schools, are very, very good at explaining to the other kids all the different families out there. Right. So you have a family with a mom and a dad. You have a family with two moms. You have a family with two dads. You have a family with one dad. You have a family with one mom. Like there's all kinds of different, sometimes it's the grandparents who are taking care of the kids. Sometimes it's so, what we realize with kids is that they adapt to the environment that they're in. And most kids who sometimes don't know that Damien has two dads, when they do realize that he has two dads, it's a fleeting moment. It's like, he has two dads. Yeah, okay. And they just move on to something else.
Right.
And it's just, so, there's never been an issue where, we felt like he was getting a different perspective about who his family is. And, he'll make comments today because he's a bit more, at 10 years old, he's starting to be a bit more alert and starting to be a bit more almost into the teenage years now. Mm-hmm. So he knows a bit more about it, but there's no difference for him as to, whether it's a man and woman or two gay dads. Like it's not a.
Well, obviously, because you're brought up in that environment. So a child, like you said, adapts to whatever environment. So for the kid, it's totally normal. My question, I'm just wondering, when he goes out there and he sees that, the majority of the families aren't like that. I was just wondering psychologically how that.
But that's what I mean, though. Like the majority of the families are not all the same either. And there's all kinds of different types of families out there. And there's enough of a variety that for him it doesn't register that way. Right. And I would probably challenge you to look at your kids and see how they react to other families in your school, and just see where they register when they see those other families. Because I'm not sure that it registers with them that way. Kids they don't really pay attention to that stuff. They know, they'll pay attention as to whether it's to mom, to dad, or whatever, but they won't really focus on it.
Right.
I hope we still have George. It looks frozen a little bit.
Yeah, I think we lost George, or he's thinking.
Can you see the smoke? I see.
Or he's thinking very hardly. Yeah, George.
Yeah. Am I still frozen?
Yeah. It makes sense. It's like they won't see the prejudice unless they've learned how to see it. So you said, Alex, they observe it, but they don't necessarily put it in any compartment. It's just normal. It is what it is. That's what's very important about what you just said. Yeah, George, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I always saw you guys perfectly. The only guy that froze was Alex for a second.
No, you froze. You froze. You were thinking. You were in your thoughts.
Chris had a good question about the mother figure. I don't know if you want to go ahead, Chris.
We were saying this was it actually came up in another conversation, but I think you're the perfect person to ask this to. Seeing as there's biological dad and a biological mom, all right? Because of the lack of a mother, have you found ways to compensate for that? You don't think it's important? Does it come from like maybe the grandmother figure or maybe friends? Like, how do you see that? Is my question clear?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's the same as asking a single woman, how do you compensate for the father figure who's absent in the kid's environment?
Yeah.
I think kids adapt to whatever environment they're in. I don't think that you need to compensate for one or another.
Okay.
And so, when we say, it's cliche and whatever, but when we say it takes a village, the same way as you would have people in your friends circles, your family circles, who have different opinions about all kinds of different things, and you want your kid to have access to all of these different mentalities so that they can grasp the different society that we live in. You want the same thing for your kid, no matter who it is, right? So so whether it's our, like you said, the grandparents or our friends, he gets that interaction with a group of people that we let into our lives on a regular basis, but we don't see it as needing the woman's touch or the men's touch. It's individuals who can all bring in a different aspect. I mean, Damien's godmother, one day we'll get her back for it, but she loved teaching him to jump into puddles when he was a kid. And,
yeah.
That hasn't gone away. He sees a puddle and he has to go through it. I'll send her the dry cleaning bill someday.